What is going on, tribe? I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Beautiful morning on the coast. Hope it's beautiful where you are. Getting a little lucky this morning because we have been socked in with fog lately and getting a little sunshine, which is feeling amazing. Literally, it just kind of cleared up when I started my walk. Doing a little walk through my local park. Beautiful morning, and just starting the day off right with some movement, getting some breathing in. You guys know the deal, checking the boxes, staying in alignment with the mission. That's right. And if you don't know what the mission is, remember, it's all in on your health until you figure out what that is. Because when we go all in on our health, that tends to raise our general vibration and frequency, and we tend to attract more cool stuff into our life, into our field. It's kind of amazing how that happens. Anyway, guys, what I wanted to talk about today is really why people that tend to perform at a high level or high output individuals, the problem with that is we tend to kind of get used to that feeling, that stressful feeling, and we stop paying attention to the signals that our body's trying to give us. We get used to being in fight or flight mode, and we're not getting enough rest and digest. We're spending too much time on the sympathetic branch of our nervous system, making too much cortisol and adrenaline, and boy, are those great hormones. Mine are kicking in right now, and I'm feeling fantastic. But the thing is, there has to be, remember, it's a yin and yang game we're playing. You have to pull back from that, and you have to recover. You have to come back to that middle path at some point. And it's critically important. So that's what I'm seeing a lot, especially with a lot of my clients. I went through it myself. I am an adrenal fatigue survivor. I was having major issues with my adrenals. My chiropractor at the time, actually, true doctor of the nervous system, man, taught me how to breathe again, taught me how to use my diaphragm again. I was stuck in fight or flight mode. A lot of what I was dealing with was also had issues from childhood, actually. I was dealing with some abandonment issues, long story short. And that's a whole nother story, but so much of how we're wired actually comes from our childhood. It's another topic, but I encourage you to look at those first years of life, and a lot can be said there. Or a lot comes from what is going on at that time of our lives. Anyway, we have to start learning to pay better attention to our body and to the signals that our body is telling us, because your body is trying to communicate with you. We just got very good at not listening anymore. And gotta go, gotta handle it, gotta get it done. And we cannot just keep making cortisol and adrenaline, because that is the expense of the other hormones we need. We need to shift back into that parasympathetic branch at times. We have to have that plasticity to be able to bounce back and forth as we need to create balance in the autonomic nervous system, or you're gonna start having problems. So it can't be cortisol and adrenaline, go all the time. There has to be a pullback, a rest. You have to get back into that parasympathetic branch of your nervous system. See, somebody needs to take a deep breath. So I'm going to do that right now because I tend to get a little wound up. That's exactly why I'm making this video. So I'm slowing myself down a little bit right on the fly. And you guys can do that too. And again, spending more time on that parasympathetic branch, and a really good way to do that is to start paying more attention to transition times in your day. Like when I first wake up in the morning, instead of flying right out, I sit there for a second. I've talked about that in recent videos. I take a couple of nice deep diaphragmatic breaths, and I try to set my intentions for the day, and I kind of just ground myself briefly, and then I go and I check the next box, which is usually hydration. First thing, hydration before coffee always. But anyway, guys, it's critical that we start paying attention. I digress. And so these transition times, getting back to that, paying attention to that time, whenever we tend to shift modes, like when we're going from, first waking up, and then we're, going into the office, and we're, maybe taking a break at lunch, and maybe when we're getting off work, and then in the evening before sleep, all these different transition times during the day, that's when you want to try to pause, reset. If you've got time to do some breathing, so a little bit of breath work, great, but at least take one nice deep diaphragmatic breath. Try to relax your nervous system a few times a day so you don't burn out. And that's really what I'm talking about here. We tend to keep pushing and not recovering. We're not listening to our body signals anymore. And that's why I want you guys to check out my new newsletter. I'll post issue number 1, which I just put out a couple weeks ago. If you haven't checked it out, please do. And I'm actually already working on issue number 2. It's called Whole Health Monthly. And I will put the link in the comments below. Please check that out. And I'm going over a lot of this stuff in my newsletter. How to start listening to your body signals, 10 things that we tend to overlook, and ways you can start balancing your autonomic nervous system. All right, so that you're not going to burn out. Morning. Anyways, guys, with that said, stay with the mission. All in on your health. Start listening to your body signals. Check out my newsletter. None of this is medical advice, by the way. If I'm resonating with you, please share, like, subscribe. I could really use your support as I'm building momentum, building this tribe, building this channel. And man, does that sun feel amazing. All right, guys, finish up the week strong.